Pathaan and VFX is like humongous.
He was quite clear that he wanted them to be flying around on this jetpack. The train sequence, I think, was one of the first things we started on. As you know, it's one of the big reveal moments in the film, Yash Raj's spy universe.
We went ahead with the shoot, and then when we came back, we recreated everything here in CGI.
He was very sure about the fact that he wanted this to be extremely fast-paced, colorful. Hi, I'm Sherry and I'm the head of VFX Studio.
And I am Lenny. I am one of the CG soups out at VFX.
I am Hussaini. I'm working as a VFX supervisor at VFX.
I started my career at Western Outdoor. It was a post-production facility which was also doing computer graphics mainly for advertising films. Because it was the hub of everything that was media and entertainment. We happened to meet up with Aditya Chopra, who was making his first film Dilwale, and he wanted to do a logo, and we did that little bit of animation for it, and that was actually our tentative start into visual effects for feature films. Subsequently, we did Mohabbatein and Lagan and Mission Kashmir. Since we were working a lot with YRF, it just made sense to do a complete transition and set up YFX, which is the VFX arm of Yash Raj Films. And it's been 6 years since we've been here, since 2016.
My first movie was Jani Dushman. So yeah, it's famous for its visual effects. It was back in the days, almost like 21 years ago now. So visual effects in those days was just something that was aiding the movies a little bit here and there. Now movies have been evolved around visual effects. The technology that we used to do those, we had the softwares and everything has surpassed a lot now, made our lives easier and difficult at the same time.
Going back to advertising days, it was a soap cake unwrapping, for example. Even in feature films, it started with a few simple things like leaves flying in Mohabbatein, things that were difficult to capture on camera. But essentially, it was a process that was always addressed in the end. So it was equivalent to a post-production process. So it was fix it in post or fix it in VFX. Today, with the kind of exposure and knowledge about visual effects and how it can give your film scale and a big cinema experience, you now have visual effects almost in the development or pre-production stage.
Chin up, you can just open your eyes, you'll get the reaction. Okay?
You spend any time talking with Adi, first of all, you can tell his passion for films. It's just about his film and the work as it relates to that. Like every film is bigger than the last one. Earlier when Adi was making a film, we used to only see Adi, more than the director or anybody else, right?
Yeah.
He was there to approve shots, he was there to approve things as down to the logo of his film. He was involved everywhere.
It's a pleasure and a real great, interesting experience to work with Aditya Chopra. He's quick to understand the benefits of visual effects. He wears a producer and creative hat at the same time. His mandate or his directive to us is always to up our game. He discusses his action sequences or the complex sequences with us at length because he does want, to blow the audience away with that next sensational action sequence. So it's awesome interacting with him.
कुर्सी की पेटी बांध लो, मौसम बिगड़ने वाला है.
Shahrukh Khan gets it. He gets it immediately and he is interested in the process. He is interested in the output. He wants to see the pre-visualization beforehand. So he understands what he has to do. Again, he's not afraid to ask questions and he's willing to do it till he gets it right. Eye line matching, timing and hair flying, whatever it is, he's cool to do it again and again till he gets it right. That's awesome for VFX.
With Shahrukh Khan, I think he's very adaptive to technology, to people, very collaborative, and he never says no. That's why I guess he's called Badshah of Bollywood.
See, what I respect about an actor on set is he's professional and he's not acting like a star on set. He's acting like he's someone who's come to do a job just like you are doing your job. Definitely he's passionate about it. He is interested in what he's doing. He's interested in why he's doing it. He's also interested in the tech behind it. He wants to know, he wants to learn.
So basically they wanted this to be a really huge film. It was their 50th anniversary and they really wanted to make it big.
I think the first brief about starting Pathaan was it's a huge action film, and thereafter I would say it just gets down to the nitty-gritty and planning of each action sequence in the film, of which there were plenty.
Sid's vision on Pathaan was it's war on steroids. He was very sure about the fact that he wanted this to be extremely fast-paced, colorful.
Yeah, I think everything needed to be bigger, faster, more dangerous. It was his next big action film. It was his baby. I think he had a pretty clear vision of it's got to be action filled.
First sequence of Pathaan, which is Shahrukh Khan's entry, it's probably one of the most favorite sequences, I think, in the film, because it was relatively the easiest sequence and it had a lot of work in it.
One of the big effects was SRK flying the chopper in the warehouse. So you can't fly a chopper in that confined space on set. So we had shot him separately on a motion base, where it's a 6-axis robotic base essentially, which you can pre-program to mimic the flight of the chopper. We had built up part build of the chopper on that and done a lot of shots using the motion base, using in-house Bolt robotic rigs, and that turned out pretty well. It looks seamless when you see it in the film. It does look like he's flying a chopper through a confined, dangerous space within the warehouse.
While SRK and John did their stunts, did their fighting, there was that need for the sense of speed and danger on it. So it had to come back to visual effects to enhance and magnify that danger on the whole scene. We did what we call a post-twist, where we've actually used the principal photography and built up in CGI or enhanced Dubai, built up more of the city and given it that sense of movement, which is more than what they could have possibly shot with people on, a semi or a Hummer. So that was a bit tricky, but it turned out to be pretty good. Also, since we had to abandon shooting because of pandemic, some of it had to be choreographed and fixed in CGI and VFX later on.
Again, with the train, it's similar to Dubai, while some of it is shot live. So the location for this was in Turkey, which is essentially you have a steep mountain face on one side, you have this narrow rail, and then there's a drop-off to a lake. While you had some of this shot on location, a lot of this had to be shot on stage, and we had to recreate a lot of this background action, extend the train. So your actors did what they could. They did their fighting, they did their stunts in these carriages. Siddharth wanted everything to be guns blazing and larger than life. So we had to get in there, as I said, recreate the canyon, enhance the speed of the train, make everything look much faster, more dangerous, enhance the drop-off, so it looked like these guys, there's ever-present danger. This is not a relaxed sequence. As you know, it's one of the big reveal moments in the film, as Yash Raj's spy universe. And for the wider shots, for the more dangerous shots, as an explosion, jumping through it, there was a few digi-double shots as well, where we recreated essentially digital recreations of your actor. This train sequence, I think, was one of the first things we started on, and one of the biggest, which went on right till the end of the film.
So basically, Sid, as you know, is famous for shooting at these exotic locations, and for this specific sequence, he liked to shoot it at Lake Baikal, which is in Russia. Unfortunately, when we reached there to shoot, there was heavy snowfall, and the entire ice was covered with snow, and his vision was clear skies and crystal clear ice so that you could see through and all. That's where we came in and we decided that we would have to go ahead with the shoot, but we would aid the sequence by replacing that ice which was covered with snow. We went ahead with the shoot, and then when we came back, we recreated everything here in CGI.
So essentially we had to go in and replace the frozen lake. Your actors were there, they were doing the work on location, but as Hosseini said, the look of the lake wasn't what the director wanted. I mean, you're going to location, you want a certain look from there. So he wanted, as he said, he wanted this crystal clear ice, but because of the weather, it was fogged over, there was snow on it. So literally we had to rebuild the original ice in CG, wrote out the characters, replace the ice under it, match back to lighting conditions of your characters.
There were a few shots of Deepika and Shahrukh Khan underwater when she falls through on the ice. So that was choreographed. Obviously, they couldn't do it underwater, but we replicated that entire simulation and that high-speed feel on the set with rigs.
And we had to shoot it at a frame rate that would enhance the movement as if the actors are underwater.
He was quite clear that he wanted them to be flying around on these jetpacks.
His only brief was that the jetpack needs to look as if it's been made at home by a person and not in a factory.
John Abraham's jetpack was like almost ready
And he was already
was
working on the next. So that's why Shah Rukh Khan's was not ready. It didn't have all the
So it was a little more of a prototype?
Yeah, so remember he almost crashes it because it's like a work in progress, it's not ready yet. There were sections of it where the roof had to be extended and because it needed to be destroyed in some parts. So that was done later in VFX. To give that sense of scale, the last shot where he's falling down, VFX had to give it.
Essentially it needed that sense of danger. John's hanging from here and there's this valley, he's going to fall into it, they're going to die out here.
Firstly, at Yashraj, when we announce a date or we make an internal timeline for a project, that date is sacrosanct. So we've learned to work towards that. But in effect, what happened was on Pathaan, with just the scale of VFX here, we actually had about 9 to 10 months to pull it off. A lot of the stuff that was initially planned to be shot live, because of the pandemic, we couldn't. So it was all moved into visual effects. It was 3,000 odd shots across the film, but every shot had multiple tasks. So there's a set, there's an explosion, there's debris to be done, and there's backgrounds to be extended. Every shot had multiple tasks to be done.
The amount of render time that was required was humongous, especially for all the pyro stuff that we did.
Essentially we were jumping from one action sequence to the next, to the next, to the next. There was no shortage of work in this movie. I mean, there's always a challenge in VFX. The challenges are very much, timeline is, I think, always one of our biggest challenges. So up to Sherry and Hosseini, the movies will never release.
Hey.
They'll just keep on trying to get it better and better and better and better and better. Yeah, there's a point at which we have to say, I think we are never satisfied with what goes out the door, but it has to go out the door.
At some point, you have to call a halt. Because at 250 people, you have to be ultra efficient to be able to deliver something like this. So the challenges start all the way from the top there. Thank you for watching us on IGN India.
For India's VFX revolution, please like, share and subscribe to IGN India.